start with you, sir, and then we'll come over here. I'll repeat your question.
You often refer to bringing the military to the southern border.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, how particularly would you use the military on the southern border? What would you instruct our commanders to do down there?
So I think the first thing for people to understand is, so I've been to this, it's a question about the southern border and moving the military to the southern border. What do I mean by that? And how exactly would we accomplish the goal? So having had the benefit of visiting our southern border, and I'll say a word about this, our northern border too. Everybody forgets about the northern border. I've been to both. We've had more illegal border crossings on the northern border this year than the last 12 years combined. And many of the most hardened criminals are actually doing it that way because they don't want to get caught at the southern border. But at the southern border, it's not even what I quite imagined before I went there and visited. It's not like you have a bunch of people sneaking across and then chase scenes for Customs and Border Patrol trying to chase them down and actually catch them, and we don't have to, and then you have to shoot them. These are artificial kind of media-constructed questions. The reality is, it's our own government that's sending them the signal, we're wide open for you to come right in. They're effectively helping and facilitating the mass illegal migration into this country. That's what's going on, and what's striking about it, I don't mean this in a good way, but I'll say it's the word that comes to mind. It's striking how orderly it is. It's actually not disorder and chaos down there. It's actually an orderly process for facilitating mass migration into this country. They'll even tell you, oh, you don't know the language? Here's the box you check for saying you're seeking asylum. You don't need proof of asylum. Come on right in. Your court date's 5 years from now. So part of this is the signal that we're sending. So when I'm talking about, I'll tell you how we're going to put an end to this. This is very practical. It takes a CEO with a basic spine to do this. Stop sending our money to Central America and to Mexico to say that we're not giving you another dime, certainly until we get this done. And every one of those countries needs to build a border wall on their own borders. Because 80% of the people coming to this country via Mexico aren't from Mexico. They're from south of Mexico. So that solves a big part of this process. Demand that anybody who ever seeks asylum in this country again has proof of political persecution. That eliminates 99% of the cases right there. Then you actually not only build the wall, I say build both walls, southern and northern border. And then if you combine that with putting our troops on the border, it sends the signal that this border is closed. That's actually the main purpose. So the instruction is, if somebody is sneaking across, that's not what's happening today. It sends a signal to the rest of Customs and Border Patrol and the rest of the world, south of our own border, that we're sealed, the Swiss cheese is closed, and we're closed for business for mass migration. Then we do the better things even here at home. Stop funding federal sanctuary cities. End birthright citizenship for the kids of illegals. That's to say that if you have a kid in this country, but you're here illegally, that kid does not anymore enjoy birthright citizenship. That ends on January 20th, 2025 when I take office. This will put an end to the border crisis. And then I do go one step further here. I believe that anybody who's in this country illegally must be returned to their country of origin. I think it's the right thing to do. I can't be a father of 2 sons in that White House, look my kids in the eye and tell them, you have to follow the rules, when I'm leading a government that is not following its own rules. That ends on my watch. And with that, by March of 2025, 2 months after I'm inaugurated, our border crisis is behind us. This is not a technical challenge. The country that put a man on the moon can get this much done. And by the end of 2025, mass deportations are underway and mostly behind us. You deserve a president that stands for the rule of law. You deserve a president who understands the law enough to use it. And I want to say a word about this. This is how they duped Donald Trump. They told him you couldn't fire those civil servants because of civil service protections. Read the law. Those civil service protections only apply to individual employee firings. They do not apply to mass firings, mass layoffs. They told him you need a constitutional amendment to end birthright citizenship in this country. Now read the Constitution. The 14th Amendment is clear in the opening words. Birthright citizenship does not apply to the kids of illegals, to anybody whom we don't have jurisdiction over. They told him, we only have 6,000 ICE agents, Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents. We can't possibly remove the millions who are here illegally. Use the law. The existing law, it's 287G, it allows you to deputize local law enforcement and delegate, give them the power to serve your warrants as ICE. What we require is a president who, yes, comes from the outside, brings sharp elbows, willing to break things when necessary, and I will. I think it helps to have a businessman in the White House. But we also need a businessman who knows and deeply understands the law and the Constitution of this country. And those two things don't usually go together. You'll have the business guy over here breaking things. You'll have the law academic type over here who can't get anything done. Those two things don't usually go together. And that's what pulled me into this, is our sense of duty here. My faith teaches me that God gives each of us our own unique gifts. Every one of us has our own unique God-given gifts. But it is our job, our duty to use those gifts to do what's right in the short time that we're given. And so, no, I'm not going to claim to be some political messiah coming from on high to fix all of our problems. But I will play my role as the president, as the commander-in-chief and the leader of the executive branch. But if we're going to be saved, it's going to be because we save ourselves. Every parent, every teacher, every city councilman, every coach across this country, every pastor, stepping up to do their job too. And that is how I'm confident that, yes, we will save ourselves, but I will do my job as your president. And fixing the southern border is the easiest thing I can get done in the first 2 months. Thank you very much. I appreciate that question, sir.